What is up, everybody? I am Kevin Ioli. I am very happy today because one of the best fighters in the world and one of the guys I wanted to talk to for a long time because he is in the news. There's a lot of good stuff going on. Of course, I'm talking about the undefeated light heavyweight, David Benavidez. David, welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing good, brother. Thank you for inviting me onto the show with you, and I'm very happy, man.
You were right there in our pound for pound list. We have you rated number 13. A lot of light heavyweights now. The hot division. You were one of the top fighters in the world. You were fighting David Morrell. You're kind of making a tour of Las Vegas. You went from Michelob Ultra Arena, MGM Grand Garden. Now you're going over to the Big House to fight David Morrell on February 1st. Let's start with David Morell. Were you impressed with what you saw of him in August when he fought at BMO Stadium in Los Angeles?
To be honest with you, no, I wasn't impressed at all. I had watched his fights a couple of times. I watched that fight a couple of times, and I feel like I've seen a lot of things that I could take advantage of, and there's a lot of holes I see in his game. But to be honest with you, I don't try to take what I've seen from that performance and make it seem like that's the best of David Morrell because I know this fight he's gonna come 100% ready. So I'm gonna be ready for whatever David Morrell comes. I know he has speed, I know he has power, so we're working on defense, we're working on head movement, we're working on so much stuff here. And this is gonna be a great fight, man.
Is the fact that he, not only is he a Cuban fighter and they sometimes have that tricky style, but he's left-handed. Does that present any problems for you that, maybe make you have to do a little extra preparation for?
It doesn't really give me a problem because I feel like I'm really comfortable with southpaws. I have a lot of tools that can equalize southpaws. But but the thing is that we just got to stay sharp and we got to stay focused. Every time we got to worry about the head movement after, the defense after, and then the distance and the movement of the feet. So I feel like this fight it's going to really show how good I am and what level I'm on. And it's going to be a great fight, man. Like I said, it's going to be two bulls going at it. And there can only be one David that wins, and that David's going to be David Benavidez.
My question for you is, first of all, let's just get a fact keeping thing out of the way. Is your title going to be at stake? Is the interim WBC title going to be at stake in this fight?
Yes, both the titles will be at stake. He has the WBA belt, I have the WBC interim, so that makes the stakes a little bit higher. And I know a lot of people say it's not a world title, but that's still a WBA belt that I don't have. So I'm very excited to be competing for that one.
So that leads into the next question. I know everybody wants to talk to you about fighting Canelo. I want to talk to you about fighting the winner of the February 22nd Bivol versus Beterbiev fight. They already fought once. It was a fantastic fight that Artur Beterbiev won. You guys are fighting in the same month. You win and you got two belts. Do you look to fight the winner of Beterbiev-Bivol after this?
Yeah, I feel like that was the plan for this fight. That's why I took this fight so easy because I was already getting ready to fight Beterbiev or Bivol. I was preparing for one of those two. So obviously they had to do a rematch because the fight was so good, and um, that's what got my mind strong for this fight. I mean, I feel like every fight now I want to fight the best of the best because that's going to give me experience for my future fights in the future. And like I said, man, I'm ready for anybody, anything and anybody. There's nothing that's gonna be in my way that I will not be able to beat. I'm here to beat everybody, and I'm here to stay.
You are moving into your prime now, 27 years old. He is 26 years old. So that's the kind of fight that everybody really wants to see. Two young, undefeated guys, right in their primes. And you're now starting, I look at your last three fights in particular, Caleb Plant, Demetrius Andrade, Alexander Gvozdyk, really elite fighters. You've taken your opposition level up. And I think you're probably doing that again, at least to a certain degree with David Morrell. Is that important to you to be able to start stringing off those big name guys and putting those guys on your record like you see, the fighters in the past used to do?
Yeah, definitely. And the reason so being is because, like I said, this is all for experience in the future. I feel like all these guys I fought, they're really world-class fighters, and all of them do have their own style that do a lot of stuff really good. So for me, beating these fighters, and not only am I beating them, I'm beating them by a wide margin. I
Right.
kind of just shows what type of fighter I am, and the potential I still have in me to become great.
A lot of people may disagree with this, but I'm going to make a statement that I really believe. I think the best fighter that you fought, especially at the time you fought him, was Caleb Plant, right? I think that guy has got a really good, complete game. He was in his prime, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you really were impressive in that fight for the adjustments you made. After maybe a little bit of a slow start, you seemed to make some adjustments and come on in that fight. Do you think that that showed a level of growth in your game that maybe wouldn't have been there, say, a couple years earlier?
No, yeah, definitely. I feel like at the time people thought that Caleb Plant was more skilled. He had better boxing skills. He had more speed, more precision. And I think for me in that fight, I definitely showed why I am the best. You know what I mean? Because I was able to outland Caleb Plant. I was able to outthrow him. I was able to do everything better than he does, basically. And Caleb Plant, he's a really good technical fighter. So I think that fight just showed everybody what level I was on, or
Yeah.
what level I'm on.
How do you agree with what I said? I mean, do you think he was the best you fought? And if so, how do you think he compares talent-wise to Morell?
Yeah, I think he was the best I fought. Because not only he had the experience, but he had the hunger because he came back, he knocked out Anthony Durrell, and he was really sure he was going to beat me. So I think to be honest, he's on paper, he's probably a little bit more dangerous fighter. I'm not talking about power or nothing, but he's probably a little bit more dangerous than Morell because he has experience. He fought the guys, you know what I mean? But like I said, everybody at the end of the day, everybody does things different, you know what I mean? So it's my job to go in there and just figure the puzzle out. And that's why I intend to do February 1st.
One, I guess, got to have an obligatory Canelo question when you interview David Benavidez these days. And so my question would be this: how difficult was it to get over the fact that he was and is such a big name in the sport, and he has always throughout his career, at least maybe up until recently, fought the best guys out there. Then when he seemed to turn his nose down at you and didn't want to fight you, I'm not sure what that said, but how difficult was that for you to accept you didn't get to challenge yourself against a guy with that kind of reputation?
I don't really take it too hard on myself because I did everything in my power to make that fight happen. I think what it is now, I get even more confidence because in reality, I know people don't want to say it, but he's scared of me because I am the highest payday for him. I know they're gonna be like, why are you talking about payday? This and that. But in all honesty, if you look at it, Canelo, if he fights me, it would be the most he makes out of anybody else. So don't you think that's a little odd if he says that he's not scared of me, that I'm nothing, that I don't have experience, I don't have this? Why would he not come and make the biggest payday and then also shut me up by beating me? It's
Yeah,
because this man, he's not confident in himself and he knows that we
yeah.
won't beat him.
To me, it's a risk versus reward. Like, I don't think any of you guys are afraid, right? Like, you're
Mhm.
fighters, you're badasses, you're fighting anybody. But, I look at it like I think maybe he's judging risk versus reward. What do I get for fighting Benavidez? What do I get for fighting Charlo or whoever else, Berlanga? And then he makes that kind of decision.
But I mean, I can say the same thing about David Morrell. You know what I mean? And I'm not nearly making probably not even a tenth of the money Canelo's making. For me, what I want to show people is that if somebody calls me out and says they're scared, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna make you eat your words.
Hmm.
And that's how it's always been with me. And that's why I feel like a lot of people gravitate towards me because they know I'm not going in there just for a fight. I'm
Right.
going in there to try to execute you. I'm trying to knock you out. And I think that's the way if I keep doing this, what I'm doing now, I don't need Canelo. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate to say because I want that fight and everybody wants to see that fight. But I think for me, going up against the best people, the strongest hitters, the best fighters, and I keep beating them like I'm beating them, I think that just makes a case for me, basically for me saying that I am the best. And that's what I want to keep doing. I just want to keep proving to the people I'm the best. And if we have an opportunity to make that fight happen, I would love that fight. But if we don't, I'm not going to keep chasing that fight.
Couple other points and we'll let you go. And I appreciate your time. I know we had a little trouble getting this hooked up, so I appreciate you being patient and staying with me. And you are building your reputation. You're a guy taking the fun fights and making those fights entertaining. We record this on December 4th, yesterday on December 3rd. One of the fighters who came before you, who really was a guy that gave everything in the ring. He lost his eye because of boxing, and he gave his heart and soul to it. Israel Vazquez passed away, and I know I asked you a little bit off camera if you knew him, but what was a fighter like that mean to somebody like you, a guy that just was balls to the wall and tried everything he could to win? What did that mean to you as a fighter watching him?
So, first of all, I want to send condolences out to his family. We lost a legend. And I remember watching his fights, and the reason why I'm explaining to you is that I want to be the best. I want to go up against anybody is because Vasquez, that's how he fought. You know what I mean? He fought the best and he gave everything into that ring every single night. So I feel like just seeing a legend like that, he kind of motivates a person like me because that's exactly what I want to be.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it's just unfortunate that we had to lose a legend at such young age. And my like I said, my condolences goes to his family, but he will always be remembered in the hearts of the hearts of the boxers.
Yeah, I have covered a lot of fights over the years and a lot of great series, but I haven't seen many better than Rafael Marquez and Israel Vazquez. That was incredible.
Yeah.
So let's wrap with this and a little bit off the beaten path. I know that you know Dana White fairly well. He talks about you a fair amount. He and I, when we talk boxing, we talk about you a little bit. He told me that you were 14 or 15 years old and you went up to him and told him you were going to be a world champion one day. Dana has said that he is going to get into boxing in some way in 2025. How do you think, he is going to find it? It's different than UFC, right? What do you think Dana can make an impact and positively change boxing? And what are the biggest stumbling blocks you think he'll face as he tries to move forward and change boxing and for the better?
To be honest with you, I know that both the UFC and the boxing, they're structured way different. But from the experience he has, I mean, it's I don't think it would be hard for him because it's just boxing. He's just transitioning over to boxing. He's really just doing the same thing, just in boxing. But I feel like the more big companies we have coming into boxing, the better it is for everybody. The better it is for boxing as a whole, because we get more funding into boxing. We get more people getting signed to contracts. We get more jobs for boxers. You know what I mean? So I feel like that'd definitely be great for boxing. And I think they would work with Riyadh season 2. I think they had talked about that. So
Sure.
I think that's just better for boxers. That's better for boxing as a whole, because the more money there is for boxers, the better it is.
What I will tell you is what is good for boxing is when the best young fighters in the world fight each other. February 1st at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, you have a 26-year-old and a 27-year-old, both with world titles, both unbeaten. David Benavidez versus David Morrell. I will be there to watch that one, David. I appreciate you, brother. Good luck to you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. God bless.
Thanks.